You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a tractor trailer hauling chicken feed overturns in Newton County.
Plus, Joplin's Civil Air Patrol cadets were awarded some high honors yesterday evening.
And we've got those scattered showers and thunderstorms continuing across the area. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is just after 7 a.m. on this Wednesday morning across the area. And boy, we're getting some much needed rain out there.
That we are.
But earlier this morning, these storms, lots of lightning with them out
Beautiful.
there. So it is pretty to see, but quite dangerous. So you don't want to go messing around with it. We'll continue to see storms through the day. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So of course today, not necessarily a good day to be up in the air by any means, but some of them who were on the ground had some special
That is
honors.
right, Chris. Joplin Civil Air Patrol cadets were awarded some high honors yesterday evening. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has the story.
The Civil Air Patrol, a civilian division of the United States Air Force, works closely to serve and protect the citizens of the United States.
It was founded by a group of people who saw war coming and knew that having the civilian aircraft able to fly certain missions would take the load off of the Army Air Forces. One of the first things we did during World War II was submarine chasing.
The Colonel Travis Hoover Composite Squadron proudly resides in the 4-state area. 2 cadets are being highly honored at the squadron's monthly award ceremony.
Well, first of all, I'm a little nervous, but I've gone through a lot of planning and developing, and I feel confident that I will be able to take on this position. And some of my goals are to grow our cadet involvement so that we have more cadets and we're more involved in community service.
Faith is assuming command of the cadet squadron. A big responsibility, but one she feels she can take on. A feeling her older brother Micah shares.
I'm proud of my little sister, and the position she's in, I wouldn't want to do it. It's a hard position.
But Micah is also being honored at the ceremony. He's receiving one of the biggest awards one can receive. Micah plans to go to boot camp on November 14th. His service in the Civil Air Patrol is sure to put him ahead.
I learned a lot about leadership through this program, and I believe that a leader should be a servant, and serving people is a very important thing, and not a lot of people do it.
Reporting in Joplin, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
If you would like to learn more about the Civil Air Patrol or are interested in joining them, you can visit them during their meetings every Tuesday at the Joplin Regional Airport at 6:30 p.m.
Certainly looks like something very fascinating, very interesting. I've told you before, I've told you folks, I've never actually been in an airplane.
We're going to change that, Chris.
I don't know if I could ever really get. The thing is, I've seen, I've gone to the airport, I've watched the airplanes pull in and stuff, and I see them sitting there, and I look at them like, I don't think I could even get on a plane, even if I knew it wasn't going
Chris,
anywhere.
it's just like getting on a bus.
It's like
that has
claustrophobia
wings
or something.
Oh,
I don't know if I could do it.
That's our goal. We're getting you on a plane.
We'll see what we can do about that, man. I'm going to have a heart attack, but it could be good TV.
Yes,
could
it
be
will.
Good TV.
We'll be filming the whole thing. Stay tuned.
Something else that's been making for some good TV is the thunderstorm activity out there this morning. Taking a live look at MoDOT cams around the Joplin metro area. We had some pretty good lightning early this morning. Of course, lightning is dangerous. When we say good, we mean it looked impressive. We don't mean that it's fun to play with. You do not want to make lightning your friend. Right now, though, we've got the rain starting to settle back in. Some thunderstorm activity moving back into the city right now. And here it is on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Now, the main bulk of this activity... Whoa, I'm a little closer to these monitors over here than I thought. Just about backed right into them. Okay, so main bulk of the activity, though, off to the east. So we're talking... Monette, Mount Vernon, Aurora, just to the east of Neosho now, back down toward Pineville, Anderson, into Delaware County. We still have some residual showers and thunderstorms out there, so that's what we're starting to see getting into the Joplin area. But again, the bulk of the heavier activity starting to push off. So Mount Vernon, Monette, Cassville, east of Neosho, Pineville, Anderson, and we will continue to see shower and thunderstorm activity. Now, we're going to start to get a pause. Once this batch moves on out of here, we're actually going to have a little bit of a a pause, and then we'll see additional development start to take place in southeast Kansas a little later this morning. Quick look outside. Joplin, rain, 65. Dry in Pittsburgh, roads beginning to dry up, and 65 as well. We get our morning started, the scattered thunderstorms continuing, but we go isolated by late morning. We're going to start to see this activity move out, upper 60s. Some of us, though, especially in southeast Kansas, where you're not getting as much rain right now, maybe a little warmer than that today. We do have the chance later for some strong storms, maybe one or two out there. We're not talking widespread severe weather, but some of them could have some small hail and gusty winds later this afternoon into the evening, overnight, and our Thursday morning. And we'll talk about all those rain chances and the cool weather that's right behind all of this here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. A Commerce, Oklahoma teen has passed away from injuries sustained in a car crash in Ottawa County. Lane Dunbar was critically injured in a crash on September 16th. Troopers say Dunbar was driving at a high rate of speed going south on 560 Road, about 2 miles north of Commerce, when his vehicle left the road. It rolled multiple times before landing on its passenger side. EMS took a 15-year-old passenger from Commerce to the hospital in critical condition. A 16-year-old from Miami and an 18-year-old from Commerce were treated at hospitals and released. Dunbar, who passed away, was 17 years old. A tractor-trailer hauling chicken feed overturned in Newton County, Missouri early yesterday. It happened at Highway D and Raccoon Road near Stella. Stella Fire was called in to help direct traffic as feed had spilled out across the crash site. The driver was taken to an area hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police in Parsons, Kansas have arrested a man accused of failing to appear in court for drug distribution. And they say that apparently when they did arrest him, he also had drugs on him. The suspect is Floyd Delmar Sales. He had previously been arrested on April 11th. When Sales failed to show up in court, police arrested him again on Monday. They say he had what appeared to be bags of methamphetamine and paraphernalia used for distribution. Customers at a Casey's convenience store in Marionville, Missouri, helped thwart an armed robbery. Authorities say this man, Nicholas Justice, went behind the counter and began taking vape supplies before staff spotted him. Other customers struggled with the suspect to stop him. AMPD arrived and took Justice into their own hands, arresting him for robbery. It was also discovered the handgun he possessed was reported stolen out of a nearby jurisdiction. Justice is currently held at the Lawrence County Jail. A market research report on Joplin shows redevelopment of the Union Depot building could lead to possible growth opportunities. Since May of last year, the Downtown Joplin Alliance has been working with the state of Missouri to figure out how to turn the Union Depot into an asset for the community once again. Joe Borgstrom with Place and Main Advisors presented research showing the depot has been the chance for success if it serves a multi-purpose role.
Tremendous amount of potential. We think it can host any number of uses, but one of the things that we think would be really cool would be a brew pub or a distillery or something like that, and then with a mix of office and retail and community space.
The Alliance says their next step is to put out a request for proposals for potential developers. Up next, we have Emily Frankowski from Connection to Culture to tell us about events coming up in Joplin. And later, how climate change can cause migraines. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. In Health Watch this morning, the United States is seeing a dramatic increase in syphilis cases, and medicine to treat the sexually transmitted disease is in short supply. More than 36 public health groups are urging the White House to take action to increase production of Bisolin. They want the administration to work with the drug's maker, Pfizer, to make sure there is an adequate supply. The National Coalition of STD Directors said Tuesday it has not yet received a reply from the White House. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says syphilis cases rose 74% between 2017 and 2021. And congenital syphilis, when a mother passes the infection to her baby during pregnancy, increased more than 203% during that time. The White House says it is working to fix the supply chain issues causing the drug shortage. Pfizer said it has increased its production of Bisolin by about 30% this year and hopes to double its output by the end of next year. And concerns about climate change often focus on rising seas and warming temperatures, but some doctors are warning about its effect on our health, including migraines and headaches. Nearly 1 in 10 people worldwide suffer from migraines. Bradley Blackburn has more on how a changing climate could mean more pain for a lot of patients.
All right, so just look straight ahead from here.
Nettie Alvarado knows how debilitating migraines can be. She's suffered from them for more than a decade before her daughter was born.
She says, "Mom, you're in your room. It's dark. Are you okay? Like, are you having a migraine?"
Her migraines used to last for days.
Good, shrug your shoulders up.
But she's found relief with medication and help from Dr. Fred Cohen, a headache specialist at Mount Sinai.
It actually eliminates within time. Within the hour and a half or so, it's gone.
Many things trigger migraines, like lack of sleep or alcohol use. But Dr. Cohen says often patients blame the weather, and extreme conditions fueled by climate change are now an increasing concern.
Migraine sufferers are the best meteorologists because when there's a weather system changing, they get an attack.
Weather triggers include intense heat or cold, high humidity, and windy or stormy conditions. Even stress from severe weather can be a factor.
There could be a relationship with more of these severe weather phenomenon that we're seeing both the United States and globally, and an increase in headache and migraine attacks.
Dr. Cohen says during this summer's wildfire smoke in the Northeast, headache complaints jumped.
But treatments for migraines are evolving too, with new approaches and new medications. Doctors can help patients monitor migraine triggers and adapt to environmental changes.
Alvarado says anyone who's suffering should see a doctor and ask for help.
Migraines are not something that you should have to deal with on an everyday basis or even throughout the day.
A health struggle that could be growing with our changing climate.
The American Migraine Foundation says migraines are 3 times more common in women than in men, and 1 in 4 U.S. households includes someone who suffers with migraines.
Well, we are continuing to see shower and thunderstorms across the area. Taking a look at the MoDOT cameras around the Joplin area. Been seeing some additional lightning activity out there with another round of thunderstorms getting ready to roll through the city. Taking a look at the Skywatch storm tracker, and you can see those thunderstorms out there and some of those lightning strikes as well. We'll take a closer look into southwest Missouri. Heavier rain getting ready to roll into Joplin. Thunderstorms coming in right over the Galena area now, northern Ottawa County. Pretty heavy thunderstorm over the Cassville area. And another decent one just to the east of Neosho, heading up toward Mount Vernon. We will continue to see the opportunity for showers and thunderstorms scattered throughout the day. We will take another look at your forecast a little later on the KOAM Morning News. And coming up, McDonald County students learn different ways to boost their resumes.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Joined with me to talk about Connect to Culture. You were just saying there's quite a few events happening.
Oh yeah, I brought to today actually. You guys have one of these up in the hallway. I took the one from last season down and put this one up. So yeah, we've got lots going on. I mean, on the Connect to Culture calendar on our website, you can see events from all of the different arts organizations. But I just pick out a few for you guys every month I come on. And actually, October is National Arts and Humanities Month.
Well, we must celebrate
Exactly. So we celebrate by, using our resources at Connect to Culture, and you can figure out what's going on. But next week is going to be a real treat. Friday, October 13th. It's not really spooky, but we've got Voctive returning. We've brought them before to Joplin, and they are an 11-member a cappella group.
I love a cappella.
Yeah, they're so good. And we were talking about how they have sang with Kristen from Pentatonics before. If you go on YouTube, look up Voctive Disney Medley, they have millions and millions of views on these videos. So they do Disney songs, they do Broadway songs.
Okay, I'm there.
All of the favorite things. Exactly. So that's October 13th. That's going to be really fun. And then right after, we have kind of a double header. We've got Chicago Tap Theater that Saturday.
Really?
So they preserve the art form of tap dance, which is an American art form.
Yes.
And they kind of do it in really fun and joyful ways. It's a little bit of storytelling, there's live musicians, there's tap dancers, just a really big production. It's going to be a lot of fun to see it on the Cornell Complex stage. So both of those are happening inside the Cornell Complex, the B Shore Performance Hall. Tickets are on sale now at connecttoculture.org. You can always come on down to the Cornell Complex and buy tickets there as well. But those are a couple of fun shows coming up.
I love that. And
Yeah.
where can people learn more about all the great things that you put together here?
Yes, so they can go to connecttoculture.org and take a look at the Joplin Arts and Cultural Calendar, see all of the events there. We've also got a really cool announcement coming up next week, so stay tuned for that. On Thursday, we've got a press conference with the Missouri Arts Council that's coming in, and we're going to release the study results from Arts and Economic Prosperity 6. It's a national economic impact study that we participated in on behalf of the entire city of Joplin. So we'll roll out the new numbers that we've gotten through participating for over a year, collecting data from people that go to nonprofit arts and cultural events and kind of figuring out what do they spend their money on. You know, they don't only buy that ticket to a show, but they go out to dinner beforehand, they buy clothes, they childcare, all of these different costs that people don't think of the event-related spending that is tied to all of these arts and cultural events.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw with Taylor Swift, you know, just the economy went skyrocket. From her tour.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll be right back with more news after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We have Gloria Wilson joining us in studio.
Good morning.
To tell us all about Steel Magnolias.
Yes, that's right.
All
we
right.
are so excited to be doing this show. If you're familiar with Steel Magnolias, you'll know about it. It's pretty popular. If you're not familiar with it, it is the story of 6 women that meet once a week at Truvy's Beauty Shop to get their hair done on Saturdays, and it just follows parts of their lives and how they grow closer as women and their relationships between each other, how they support each other through thick and thin, truly. It is a very powerful story, and it will make you laugh so hard, but you will also need a box of tissues.
Oh, love those.
So it's really good.
Okay, and so what can we expect from the show?
From the show, well, it's a dinner theater, so first of all, you get dinner and a show.
Can't read it.
Mm-hmm, yeah, it's very exciting. We are serving salad, ham, rolls, and there is dessert that we serve at intermission, so that's always something to look forward to. From the show itself, you will expect 6 great actresses, myself included.
Yes, tell us about the actresses.
So the actresses, it's been so exciting to work on a show with an all-female cast. It's just such a cohesive group. It's really an experience to walk into the theater every time and know that these people have your back on stage. So it's really been exciting.
I love that. And so where can people go to get tickets and be a part of this?
Okay, so you can go online to stonesthrow-dinner-theater.com. You can go on our Facebook group, Stones Throw Dinner Theater. There's tickets there. You can call the theater for tickets. Usually what happens is you call and ask for a reservation. They will call you back and leave your name, number, all of that good stuff, and my good friend Neil will give you a call back and get you set up for tickets.
I love it. And when is this all happening?
So we actually opened this Friday.
Oh, congrats.
Yes, it's very exciting. We opened this Friday, and we're doing the show this weekend and next weekend. We actually ended up having to add an extra show next weekend because we are selling out.
Good for you guys.
Yes, we are selling out, so we had added an extra show.
Now, I understand that you are looking for some help from the community.
We are. We absolutely love new people, and we would love it if you would come and volunteer at Stones Throw. Same way, call us, come in, whatever you like. There's so many different ways to get involved with the theater. You don't have to be on stage if you don't want to. I know a lot of people are kind of iffy about that, but we've got people that work in the kitchens, we've got people that work in the dining room, we've got ushers, we've got fantastic people that work backstage. We need all of it. And the great thing is if you come and you volunteer for a show, you get free dinner and a show.
Well, there you
so
go.
I know if I'm not in the show, I try to at least volunteer once a show for all of the others.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Check out Steel Magnolia. We'll be right back with more news.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. The time now is 7:28 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. A Kansas police chief has resigned 2 months after the raid he ordered against a local newspaper. Marion County, Kansas Police Chief Gideon Cody stepped down from his position. Cody was suspended last week in the wake of uproar from the August raid of the Marion County Record and the home of the paper's 98-year-old associate publisher who died the following day. Days after the raid, a county prosecutor withdrew the search warrants and asked authorities to return items taken during the raid. The former police chief also faces a federal lawsuit filed by one of the newspaper's reporters. Wichita police believe they have solved a 34-year-old cold case. 20-year-old Krista Martin was sexually assaulted and murdered in 1989. Investigators are now naming Paul Hart as the suspect in the case. Hart died in a traffic accident back in 1999, 10 years after the crime. The case was cracked by recent advances in DNA technology, which was available but not 3 decades ago. The Sedgwick County District Attorney is officially clearing the cases based on the new evidence. In a press conference, the victim's niece, Ember Moore, thanked the cold case squad for their dedication in solving her murder. Dozens of people living in a makeshift encampment on the lawn of St. Louis's City Hall will be forced to move. A spokesperson for St. Louis Mayor Tishara Jones said that the city made the decision to decommission the encampment just after 10 p.m. Monday night by enforcing a city curfew law. It would force out anyone who doesn't have a permit issued by the Board of Public Service or the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Forestry. The mayor's office decided to postpone breaking up the encampment last night and instead worked to find shelter for the people there.
All we asked for is what was promised. Fair housing for us, a chance. We understand that there's some of us that don't want to leave. This is their life, they like this. But there is some that actually want to get up, get out of this, and get off the program.
Outreach workers with the Department of Human Services visited the encampment yesterday morning to facilitate individuals into shelters and to accommodate additional individuals who arrived on site.
We've got scattered thunderstorms continuing for some of us this morning. Taking a look at the MoDOT cameras around the Joplin metro area. Still getting some lightning out of this thunderstorm activity and a fair amount of rain falling again. So do watch out for those slick roads out there. So here's a look at the Skywatch storm tracker. There's the bigger bulk of the storm still continuing to push east of the area. We can zoom in to southwest Missouri. So around Cassville, just getting out of that. Some heavier rain just outside of Monette on Mount Vernon. Splitting the difference here on Joplin, but more activity, and it stretches back up toward Columbus, and we go into northeastern Oklahoma. Check out this big guy down here by Veneta, another big storm down there. Southeast Kansas fairly clear right now, with the exception of Cherokee County, really. All this activity continuing on. We'll see a pause in it momentarily, and then it will come back later today. 65 in Joplin right now, and we are sitting at 65 in Pittsburgh. Some rain on the south side there. Scattered thunderstorms again through the morning. We'll see a brief lull in activity late morning, early afternoon before it does return. We'll have another full look at your forecast here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Well, the state of Missouri is offering tax credits for meat processors and specialty crop producers. The Missouri Agricultural and Small Business Development Authority is accepting applications for the credits. One is available for meat processors who invest in modernizing or expanding their facility. The other is for family farmers using loans to pay for specialty crop resources like seeds and equipment. Building a resume is a crucial step in the job hunting process, and the director of the McDonald County Chamber of Commerce yesterday spoke with students at McDonald County High School about what to include on a resume and how to present yourself through one.
I hope that they went away understanding that the grit and the passion are really what it takes today. I mean, everybody can prepare a great resume. Computers can do that for you. But it's when you get the personal interview, where the passion and the creativity come across. That's what people are looking for.
The presentation was geared towards students in business classes. The Wyandotte Nation is trying to help the community connect with local law enforcement officers. The tribe yesterday hosted a national night out community block party where people were able to check out emergency vehicles and talk with officers. It's a nationwide campaign aimed at increasing crime prevention awareness and strengthening the bonds between police and residents.
It gives the community a chance to meet all the officers when they're not in their serious mode, so to speak, so they can get to know them. And the kids love some of the officers that we have. They've been around for a long time.
The block party was held at Heritage Acres Park in Wyandotte. This month, we're highlighting various area pumpkin patches, spook houses, and other places where you can enjoy autumn activities. One of those is Old Yale Farms in rural Frontenac, Kansas. In addition to pumpkin picking, there are lots of family activities, including hay rides, a zip line, miniature golf, cane pole fishing, petting zoo, a giant slide, and a jump pillow. You can also try your hand at gold mining. Old Yale Farms is open every Saturday and Sunday. Day passes are $13 for adults and $16 for children. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We go up and away in a hot air balloon for Columbus Day.
And we're continuing to track showers and thunderstorms this morning across the area. More on the way later. We'll have another look at your forecast a little later when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We have Jean Bridget joining us in the studio to talk about Columbus Day Balloon Festival. Now this seems pretty exciting. We have a bunch of hot air balloons taking flight.
We do. We have 10 so far. We have a couple of pilots that are coming in training, and all will be participating also. And we've been doing this for several years. We have pilots that come from Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma. We've had them from Arkansas, from Texas, and such. We're strictly dependent on the weather on our hot air balloons.
Okay.
We fly early morning, usually as soon as daybreak.
Oh, wow.
And then late afternoon. We have to be on the ground an hour and a half before dusk, and that's per FAA regulations and all. On Friday evening, we do what's called a balloon glow. The pilots will tether on the ground. We'll take the field when they still have daylight. It'll be close between 6:30 and 7. They're usually at 30 to 40 minutes. They come down after it's pitch dark, and we have them, they all hit their burners at the same time, so you get this, excuse me, this glow through the balloon envelopes, and all. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous sight.
That sounds amazing. How many balloons do you expect to be
there?
there?
We have 10, and we do not take more than 20, but 10's a good number because they do take up a lot of room on our field. We do it out in our industrial park, which is is on 69 South Highway, and just across. The easiest is the street across from McDonald's restaurant, right there on the main highway and such. We do allow the public to come out on the field, and also they can get up close and see how they operate, what it takes to put one in an air. It's not an easy task.
Yes.
And such. And then on Saturday and Sunday mornings, we do competition flights. They're called a hare and hound race with the pilots, and then we do one in the afternoon on Saturday between 5 and 5:30 and such. And the public can get out on, they can talk to our pilots, our crew people. All of our crew people are local people that have been doing it for years and such. And then during the day on Saturday, we have our Columbus Day Festival, so there's all kinds of activities on the downtown square. We do it in a different location because it takes so much room for the balloons.
Oh, I bet. Well, it sounds like a blast. Definitely look forward to checking it out this weekend. Correct? It's this weekend. It's this weekend. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you.
All right, we'll be right back with more news after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:41 now on this Wednesday morning. Still some scattered thunderstorms across the area. They kind of keep back building over themselves. The main batch still continuing to roll to the east, but we've seen some additional development now across parts of southwest Missouri into southeast Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma. So if you watch the loop, you'll watch this activity just continue to kind of refire back behind all of this. Now eventually these showers and storms will move out, and we'll have a little pause in the activity before we see more storms a little later today. In Joplin right now, still getting some thunderstorm activity out there, so we just showed you on the radar. 65, east breeze at 7 miles an hour. And around the region, we've got temperatures mostly in the mid to upper 60s. It's 70 in Bentonville, but we got 67 Lamar, 66 in Pittsburgh, Nevada, Stockton, 68 Fort Scott, Parsons, Chautauqua, excuse me, 70 in Chanute, and 65 in Miami. There is the possibility of a strong storm or two with this activity later today. The no-risk areas highlighted for tornadoes, so that tornado risk is very low. But we could see some small hail and perhaps some gusty winds with some of the stronger storms a little later today. So here's the future track. Here we are about noon, and here's the gap we're talking about. So out in Elk, Chautauqua, Greenwood counties. Here comes the next batch, but in between, we are dry for a moment, but you see, we also could get some clearing across parts of southeast Kansas, so some of us may be a little warmer than the rest of us, and then this next round of showers and thunderstorms will start to march through, and once that batch kicks through, it sets off the chain for the next round of scattered showers and thunderstorms, and these will continue through the evening, into the overnight hours, and into our morning commute on Thursday before the rest of that activity clears out of here by about noon. So for the rest of today, on the average, we're looking at highs right around the mid-70s. Some of us, again, in southeast Kansas, we see a little more clearing this afternoon, could go closer to 80. Scattered storms will resume by this afternoon across the area, and they will continue and, of course, increasing coverage as we head into the evening and overnight hours. Looking at lows right around the mid-60s. Temperatures just kind of floating around the mid-60s through the overnight hours. Scattered showers and storms through the first half of our Thursday, upper 70s, and then gradually temperatures will begin to fall through Thursday. They don't plummet, which is great. I hate when that happens, but they'll gradually fall. We'll go low 50s overnight. And then check this out. Friday, Saturday, 10 to 15 degrees below normal, because we can't be normal here in the 4 states, and overnight lows back into the 40s, and some of us Friday night could even get into the upper 30s. So if you've got any outdoor vegetation, do be aware of that. We'll see sunny skies return as we head into next week. Temperatures also return above average, back in the low to mid 80s, and then we'll go back to average by the end of next week with some shower and thunderstorm chances possible by Thursday. That is a check of your forecast. Now we're going to send it over to Caitlin for a check of Consumer Watch.
Thanks, Chris. Well, a federal appeals court has expanded the limits of the Biden administration's communications with social media companies. The court now says a ruling will also apply to a top U.S. cybersecurity agency. The ruling came last month from the conservative Fifth Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals, located in New Orleans. It severely limits the ability of the administration to communicate with social media companies on content related to COVID and elections that the government views as misinformation. The previous ruling applied to the White House, the Surgeon General, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the FBI. Now, in a new opinion, the court says it also applies to the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. That agency is charged with protecting non-military networks from hacking and other homeland security threats. 3 orphan manatees are back at a zoo in Tampa, healthier than before. They recently returned from the Cincinnati Zoo, where they had been rehabilitating for more than a year and gaining lots of necessary weight, as Julie Salomon reports.
After traveling more than 1,000 miles, 3 manatees, Calliope, Piccolina, and Soleil, are back at Zoo Tampa. They spent the past year at the Cincinnati Zoo in Ohio gaining weight. A viewing area at Zoo Tampa gives everyone a glimpse at the threatened species.
They were all rescued here in Florida in 2021, and they were found as orphan calves. Each of them was weighing less than 60 pounds when they were first brought into us.
After being rescued by state wildlife officials, the 3 sea cows went to Zoo Tampa for critical care in 2021. Piccolina, at the time, only weighing 44 pounds, making her the smallest manatee ever in Zoo Tampa's care. The manatees were then transported to the Cincinnati Zoo, where they spent the past year. Over the weekend, the manatees traveled back to Florida by cargo plane in custom-built, state-of-the-art containers.
We'll release them into a warm water site like a spring or power plant on a really cold day when there's hundreds of other manatees in that site, so that they can go out and socialize with them and learn how to find food and learn that warm water site, because they're migratory and they need that for survival.
Lisa Smith, an animal care supervisor with Zoo Tampa, says the next step is to get these manatees ready for release, which will likely happen in January or February.
So everyone can do their part by practicing safe boating and making sure that they keep their eyes open for wildlife, admire them from a distance, and make sure that you don't leave any trash or litter around.
Smith said each manatee now weighs a hefty and healthy 700 pounds. And we'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. A sequel to what is considered one of the scariest movies ever made arrives in theaters this week.
Rick Damagello reports.
You have some experience with possession.
Yes, more than I'd like.
Ellen Burstyn returns to her iconic role as Chris McNeil in The Exorcist Believer.
Exorcism is a ritual. Every culture, every religion, they all use different methods.
Bringing Ellen Burstyn back to the movie and the iconic music of Tubular Bells, these things that become just part of our primal animal, and to be able to play in that playground was just it was a huge honor to follow into the footsteps of the film that William Peter Blatty and William Friedkin had created.
One girl lives, one girl dies.
You pick and choose. Challenge was obviously people are emotional about the title and skeptical and all those things, but it's the most iconic horror movie ever, so I thought that would be a fun challenge.
David?
Yeah, it's the holy grail, and it could be really daunting if you didn't have the right creative team around you.
Don't be scared. We've met before.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
I gotta tell you, even the original, my older siblings were watching it and I snuck behind to peek. Scarred me for life. I had to sleep with the lights on
It
for
is,
a year.
man, it was a good one. This one
so-
does look like it's going to be pretty
It
decent
looks
too.
very
so
scary.
Something to check out. Something that's not too scary is the weather. We've got some much needed rain falling, but boy, earlier this morning, that lightning was pretty scary out there. Very electrical storms. Live look at Joplin Metro cams from MoDOT. We've got rain continuing to fall, but we will eventually see a pause in the activity before we see additional shower and thunderstorms build in later. So here's a look at Skywatch Storm Tracker. Still got that activity out there. A lot of it focused in the southwest Missouri, northeast Oklahoma. So Cassville getting a pretty heavy shower. Monette, Mount Vernon, one getting ready to roll in on the southern edges of Neosho. Another just rolling out of Joplin, heading up toward Carthage. And we head over to northeastern Oklahoma. Got a decent one now just east of Veneta, heading toward Grove, Miami. So watch out for additional showers and thunderstorms. And then southeast Kansas, aside from a couple of stray showers, starting to clear out, which is why some of you may be a little warmer than the rest of us today. So we got 65 in Joplin with that rain. Still some rain on the southern end of Pittsburgh and 65 down there. We got the scattered thunderstorms continuing through the morning. Then again, by late morning, early afternoon, we'll start to see that pause out there before we see additional development. And a quick reminder, a couple of strong storms are possible. Tornado risk very low. No areas highlighted, but in the brown areas, could see some small hail, maybe some gusty winds with the storms this afternoon. We'll have another look at the forecast for today, the week ahead, and the news you need to know right after this.
Happened at Highway D and Raccoon Road near Stella. Stella fire was called, and the driver was taken to an area hospital. On him when they found him. The suspect is Floyd Delmar Sales. He had previously been arrested on April 11th to show up in court. They said that he had what appeared to be bags of methamphetamine and paraphernalia used for distribution. And customers at a Casey's convenience store in Marionville, Missouri helped thwart an armed robbery. Authorities say this man, Nicholas Justice, went behind the counter and began taking vape supplies. Other customers then struggled with him to stop him. AMPD arrived and took Justice into their own hands, arresting him for robbery. It was also discovered the handgun that he possessed was reported stolen out of a nearby jurisdiction. Justice is currently held at the Lawrence County Jail.
Well, we've still got the scattered thunderstorms across the area today. We will continue to see those in our highs. Some of us are not going to be as warm as others, but we will see a few of us getting into the upper 70s and perhaps the lower 80 or near 80. Others will not make it out of the lower 70s today. Scattered thunderstorms will continue and then increase in coverage overnight tonight. Again, a couple of strong storms, maybe some small hail, gusty winds will be possible out there. Otherwise, we're going to go back into the mid 60s. Thunderstorms continue in the first half of our Thursday. We'll go upper 70s. That clears out, and then check out Friday, Saturday. Much cooler across the area. And we'll start to see sunshine return as we head into next week. And unfortunately, this brief taste of fall is that brief. Even though it gets pretty chilly out there, we'll turn around and be back above average and warm into the low to mid 80s as we head into the next work week.
All right. Well, a bill has been filed to rename a Florida highway after the late Jimmy Buffett. Florida State Representative Chuck Clemens filed the bill on Friday. It aims to rename State Road 1A1, which is a major coastal highway that runs from Key West into the Florida Keys all the way up to the Georgia. If past parts of the highway would be renamed to Jimmy Buffett Memorial Highway in specific counties. The beloved Margaritaville singer died a month ago from a rare type of skin cancer. He was 76. The name change wouldn't happen anytime soon. The 2024 Florida legislative session doesn't begin until January.
Of course, if you hear the song Margaritaville, you kind of associate Southern Florida with where Margaritaville would be.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, we'll continue to keep an eye on the thunderstorms through the day. Again, not anticipating any severe weather out there. Otherwise, we will see you back here with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your day, 4 States.